Hey guys, Andy from Activepieces here. So if you're a small business service provider and you just want to find actual buyers who are spending money right now, these are like warm leads, right? Like this would change the game. We're gonna get into why this strategy is so powerful. So first and foremost, Facebook ad library is completely free and public and it's underutilized. Now, every business that's running an ad on Facebook will be posted here, and you could just sift through, you know, hundreds of thousands of different advertisements that are posted daily just using the keyword. And whether you're looking for ideation or you're looking for warm leads, which is what we're doing, Facebook ad library is a great resource to use. Now, all these people that are on Facebook ad library, they are actively paying for their growth, right? So you as a service-based business can actually find these warm leads rather than you having to deal with cold and dead leads, right? So with that in mind, let's get into now setting up the automation via Activepieces. So before you start any flow, you want to make sure you have a trigger. Our trigger in the beginning is going to be a event. So every day at like, let's just say like 3 p.m., right? And I'll pick New York time zone. Make sure to run on the weekends, right? So before you proceed, you always have to make sure that you're testing and generating a sample data. So you can actually see your input and your output here. So here I'm going to add one of the essential pieces, which is Firecrawl. So in Firecrawl here, this will actually let you to structure, unstructured data from web pages. And in our case, it will be Facebook ad library. We'll get to that in a few seconds. So here, I already have my Firecrawl account already connected. But the URL that we're going to be using will be Facebook ad library. Paste it here, right? You can have your timeout. You can put it higher than this or lower than this. It's really up to you. But again, like just keep in mind, sometimes I don't think Firecrawl will have this problem at all, but in the past, I've used other scrapers and Meta Ad Library would like sometimes like ban the activity or at least time you out for a certain amount of time. Always click on perform actions before scraping, okay? And the reason for is because, look, when I go to the front page or when Firecrawl is given that link, it's gonna be here first, okay? And in order for it to actually go to your desired category and filter, it needs to input these itself, right, manually. And so basically what I'm doing in the actions is I'm letting it know step by step, you need to do exactly what I just did, which is select the country region, right? Filter by all ads based on like select the ad category, and then type in my exact phrase that I want. This one right here that's already pre-made, just copy and paste this. Copy and paste this to ChatGPT and just tell it, hey, I want this query to essentially, I want Firecrawl to click the following, which is select country, and I want it to be United States. Select ad category, I want it to be all ads, and then the keyword, right? The keyword or advertiser, I want it to be whether it's a specific genre or it could be a specific company that you want to essentially target. But I already have that done, so let me just copy and paste this. Okay. Oh, and something very important to add, I added, like, I wanted it to click see ad details. So when I'm looking at the advertisements, see ad details here, it actually pulls up more information about each business. This is actually very important, right? Here, sometimes they have their phone numbers listed. And if you like hover over this, you can get like even their website for the business. But most importantly, I want the handle. I want the Facebook handle and the Instagram handle so I can go directly to them and contact them. Hence why I highly recommend this. So tell ChatGPT to write an additional portion where it says you want it to click on the button, see ad details. Okay, it's very important. So here, extraction type, I just do prompt. That's the beauty of Firecrawl. You don't really have to do JSON. For this is ideal for people that are non-technical. So these are the actions that it's going to take. So while it's scraping the page, it's going to specifically scrape the name, the Facebook link, and the description, right? This is what I want. But you can specify if you want specific things within the advertisement. That's, maybe more important to you than it is to me. You don't want to continue on failure because this is an essential part of the flow. So usually when you click on continue on failure, it will skip it if it fails. You don't want to skip this. So you want to retry on failure, if anything. You're going to test a step, see if it works. You won't be able to move on unless you test a step. There it is. Okay. Here's my output. So what happened here, right? I'll walk you through what's going on here. So the metadata here is essentially the top portion of this website. And then the JSON is what I want Firecrawl to essentially pull from each advertisement, right? I have the name, Facebook link, description. Okay, this is the details that I want. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this JSON into CSV. Convert JSON to CSV. So the reason why this is important is because when you convert to CSV, I'll be able to actually plug it directly into a Sheets or an Excel file, right? So let me delete all of this, right? You don't need this. What you're gonna need, right, is, let me pull this over. What you're gonna need is advertisement. So this is the JSON array. So let me delete this. Retest. Got it. So here it is. Here's all that information. So now what we're going to do, we're going to start adding the Google Sheets. So we're going to add one or more new rows in specific spreadsheet. Yeah, we're going to do this one. There we go. We're going to do a CSV file. Okay. Connect my sheets. And so what I'm essentially doing is I'm picking the spreadsheet that I want all this information to be put into. And then for the sheets, you know how Sheets has different tabs you can have. You can switch between different sheets within the same spreadsheet. I only have one sheet right now. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to input a CSV file, which was this prior step, which is step 2, into step 3. And then here's where we're going to connect the convert JSON to CSV, which is already stored in a CSV. Well, it's written in a CSV format. We're going to avoid duplications. And then how we're going to be able to identify whether it's a duplicate or not, I'm just going to go off of the description. A lot of times they're going to run the same photo as an advertisement, but they'll never always use the same exact description because it's, tailored differently. It's changed up for SEO, whatever it may be, but most often they will never use the same description to run the same ad, unless it was high converting, right? But let's test a step and see if it actually inputs into the spreadsheet. Awesome, so it successfully worked. And we have 7 updated rows, 3 updated columns, and 21 total cells. So let's look at it. So if you look at it here, it's real structured fairly nicely. And here are some potential warm leads, right, that I can contact personally. A martial arts gym. Whatever my service may be, I could be a ad provider, and I could say, hey, I could do your ads for far less than what you are currently being charged, or hey, I can take photos for your business, right? And here's their Facebook page personally. And you can get a lot more tailored within the action step that I showed you over in step 1, post the actual trigger, where you can emphasize that you want the phone number, you want their website, you can get all this information, right? Just make sure that when you're doing it, you are doing it in the right array. Well, you're putting it in a correct array format, and you are inputting that you want Firecrawl to essentially pull the phone number, the website also, on top of whatever else that I showed you that you should be pulling. So we can test the entire flow. Okay, let's see if the entire flow works prior to publishing. So I already have it scheduled for 4 p.m. every day. Right before we call it, let's look at the entire flow and let's ensure that it's all working seamlessly. Okay, Firecrawl worked. Yep. Beautiful. Yeah, it's obviously it's not going to duplicate itself, but it worked. Nonetheless, we appreciate you watching the video, and if there's any questions, feel free to ask. You guys have a good rest of your day.